Here.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
And here we go. This is Mike Lodge. I am the business advisor, and it's a beautiful day out, a beautiful morning, nice and chilly. What's the temperature at the moment? It is 47 degrees, so it's a chilly morning. But that's okay. I like chilly. It gives you this rush of fresh air as you take your dog out, and all of a sudden you say, gosh, it's cold. And you can feel it in your hands because it's cold. But you know what? That's life. You know what? In the next few weeks, we're going to have some really hot weather. And I told myself this year, and I've told you guys too, I refuse to complain about warm weather because it's been cold. I remember when I was a kid, and every time we had leftovers, my mom would get out this product called Tupperware. All of you remember Tupperware. Hopefully you remember. But Tupperware was the number one go-to company to store leftovers. It was a plastic container company. And they used to even have these Tupperware parties at home. My mom used to have them all the time. And all the ladies would come over and they would have cookies and drinks and sit around and chit-chat and gossip. But buy Tupperware at the same time. So they used to have all of these parties for women all the time at home. Avon, I mean not Avon. Avon. Yeah, Avon would come over to the house also. What was the other one? There was another one that was about cleaning products. I forgot what its name is. But anyway, Tupperware was the number one source. So every time you had Christmas and you had leftovers, right into the Tupperware. And you could put it into the freezer and freeze it. Every Christmas and New Year's and any time that you had a Thanksgiving time, every time that you had food around and leftovers, it all went into the Tupperware dishes. Now, here's the sad news. Tupperware is about ready to go out of business. Tough times. They're trying to go out and find an investor to come in and put some money into the company, but they just can't find it. You know, credit is tough to get. Investment funds are tough to get now. So the article that came out today, Tupperware warns it could go out of business. Says there's substantial doubt it can continue, and that's what they've put into their filings with the SEC. Because they're a stock traded company. But you sit here and you think, gosh, here is a company that has been around. I think it's been around since 1940 something. Now, let me look. Just 1 second, I'll tell you. 1946 is when it came into existence. Now, that's a long time ago. Now, a lot of you are probably too young, if you're listening to me and young. You probably don't remember Tupperware. But it's been around, and it's still out there, just not as big as it used to be. I remember my mom used to have all of her church friends over, and they would go through all of the Tupperware products and look at the catalog and spend a whole evening, because they would always do it in the evening, it seemed like. They would spend the whole evening going through the catalog and seeing what they wanted and making their orders. And then pretty soon the Tupperware lady would come around with your order and leave it on your doorstep, or if you were home, give it to you. That age of life, I'm afraid, is over. As you and I grow older, things are going away. It's sad to see. Because Tupperware was really a good product. And it still is a good product. And then if you look at newer companies right now, there's a company out there there's a creative tech firm called Talent House. And they match jobs up with talented people, artistic type people. But the problem is, their debt is so high that Talent House is about close to failure. And that's the problem when you're a startup, a newer company. You've got debts. And those debts have got to be paid off. And those debts could be to creditors, they could be to investors, they could be to almost anybody. Technology costs, and you put it on debt, those things mount up. And when the economy goes downward and the jobs become less for the talent house people to work on, then it hurts the company. So we see old companies having problems and we see new companies having problems. But still, people out there still trying to start new jobs. One thing that was really sad for me yesterday is that there's a popular sneaker chain. Some of it's not in your part of the country, but this sneaker chain is going to close its doors after 74 years in business. And that is sad to see. You see these older companies who can no longer survive in today's economic climate, where you've got debt that is going higher because the interest rates are going higher, where you have mounting supply chain issues of trying to get your products into your store. And we could go on and on with the list. It's sad to see these things happen. Every day I read in the paper, because I follow the news on the local business here quite closely. And every day I hear of a new closing. A restaurant that has been here for 50 years. A candy shop that has been here for 30 years. But they just cannot survive because no one is spending money at the moment. So they're having to shut up. They're having to shut up their companies. That's really sad to see things like that happen. But we're going to see more and more of it as life goes on here, and under this inflation, recessionary time that we're living through, we're going to see more companies that have been old standing companies go out of business. And it's sad. And then we have other companies who are just plain stupid. They decide to go woke. And what do? They destroy a whole brand that has been known for so long. Because why they decided to become woke? It's a good article this morning. You'll see it down below in my links. It says, "Get woke, go broke. Bud Light marketing VP defends beer brand's new inclusive agenda." She thought it would be a good idea to be this new inclusive type marketing person to bring in a trans person that dresses as a little girl to promote Bud Light. Now, Bud, is done at it's drunk at football games and outings in people's backyards and barbecues. That's the type of mentality of Bud. I mean, it's always been known for the extracurricular activities of sports and barbecues and picnics and everything else, and baseball games and football games. But this lady decided, okay, you know what? We need to be more inclusive, and let's bring in a trans person, a trans guy who dresses like a little girl to promote Bud. There wasn't much thought process there except woke political thought. And every time you do that, you destroy a brand. Now, we all know what Bud stood for before. But bringing in a trans individual, just because it's politically correct and it's woke, destroys the brand. Now everybody's looking at a brand that was known before as kind of a loony brand. You see, when you bring in woke politics or woke thought, you bring in unethical visions. I call them visions. Of how they can change the world through their brand, and they can support trans life of a little girl who's dressed up, a man dressed up as a woman. That's what they think is going to sell beer. And it doesn't. It turns people off. Turns them in another direction. Now, Bud is going to have to do a lot of cleanup work. They're going to have to do a lot of work. And they're going to have to be creative. Because now they've been damaged. And now they got to cure the damage. Woke politics never works out in the business. If you're even thinking about it, turn the other way. Nike's having the same problem. The exact same problem. But they're sticking with it because they're a political agenda type organization. Now, they have been hurt before when they've gone woke, and they're going to get hurt again by going woke this way. It's amazing how people think. They think that their political agenda motivated thought process is going to win people. But no, it doesn't. It's not going to win more customers. That turns off customers. Because it's an unethical type of organization. We're dealing with people who have mental health issues. And to do it at a time when a trans individual went into a school and killed 3 children and 3 adults in a Christian school, it's not very smart. Not very smart at all. So here we go. Life is funny, right? But I do have a joke for you today. And I'm going to post them down below, okay? Let me find it here, just one moment. And it's about getting old, okay? And right when I want to talk to you about these jokes, of course I can't find it. It happens every single time, right? Here we go. 60 jokes about aging. And we're going to use number 1 today. Number 1 joke, okay? What's the secret to having a smoking hot body as a senior? The answer is cremation. Anyway, you guys, we have got to do better today. You and I have got to go out there and do great things. We have got to do better planning for ourselves. 2023 is not over yet. Even though we've gone through the first quarter, we're now into the second quarter, and we have got to do better. Because the economy is not getting any better. The automobile market is not getting any better. Credit is being cut off to a lot of different people and businesses. So we're going to have some tough times here. But you and I, we can survive it as long as you and I plan. As long as you and I sit down and do our budgets. As long as you and I sit down and look at the expenses that is in our lives. Listen, if you would like to have more access to me, go to my website, which is www.lodge-co.com. And if you have a business question, send it to me. I answer all the business questions if I have the answer to it, or I will point you into the right direction. Send it to thebusinessadvisor at Zmail, Z as in zebra, Zmail.com. Thebusinessadvisor at Zmail.com. I love questions, and I get a lot of questions. And I try to answer them all as quickly as I possibly can. Everybody go out and have a great day. Love you guys. Bye-bye.